I'm sorry that I have to leave very shortly after this because we have a very intense day. Of course, we are also discussing the humanitarian aid situation, humanitarian aid issues, and especially the situation in Gaza right now. But the world today is unstable, uncertain, and cruel. Man's inhumanity to man is there for all to see. People are going hungry when there is plenty of food to go around. This is the greatest paradox of our time. The UN has rightly called for a humanitarian reset. This is an opportunity for the European Union to show that we are the partner that the world can rely on. 4 points. First, a promise to you, and one I know I share with Kaja. I will use every diplomatic channel to mobilize political pressure in response to humanitarian needs, and to ensure that humanitarian principles, humanity, impartiality, neutrality, and independence are respected. The situation in Gaza, for example, is truly abhorrent. The response to fears of aid being weaponized cannot be to block it, but to flood Gaza with humanitarian aid as much as we can to help those in need. I have conveyed this message at every opportunity, including yesterday's summit with the UK, where it was clear we are aligned on this, and including all the calls I've had with the Israeli government. Humanitarian crises are rarely accidental. They are often the result of political failure, the erosion of basic norms, or impunity. This is why accountability for breaking international and humanitarian law is fundamental. This is my second point. And why last month, together with the Council of Europe, we established a special tribunal for a crime of aggression against Ukraine. The same principle applies the world over. Would-be perpetrators must know they face consequences. My third point is that solidarity is the innate to who we are as human beings. Humanitarian work should be a global effort. Over 90% of European citizens consider it important that the EU funds humanitarian aid. The European Union and our member states collectively make the largest contribution to the UN system. We pay on time and we pay in full. But the declining US support, given how much the system has lost, calls for a global rethink about the new ways to act. That is why at the Seville conference next month, the EU will be pushing for more private sector involvement, a reassessment of how multilateral development banks operate, and for others, China, the Gulf states, India, South Africa, for example, to do much more. Peace and prosperity aren't built through transactions, power plays, or view of international relations as a zero-sum game. They are built on the idea that if we live in a more secure and a stable world, that every one of us would benefit. That is why, when it comes to the humanitarian work, the European Union will never change its tune. But the EU has got to be smarter at what we do. This is my fourth point. We have to leverage what we have for the reforms we want to see, including in the United Nations. And we have to tackle communication issues around the humanitarian aid. Information manipulation and misinformation about the humanitarian work and access, for example, distorts reality, sows division within our communities, and weakens our capacity to manage crises effectively. We have to actively fight it. Dear ministers, dear colleagues, dear friends, if humanitarian crises are the result of political failures, impunity, and the erosion of basic norms, we respond with political strength. We fight impunity, and we champion humanitarian values. We do not let food sit in warehouses to rot. Yes, the European Union must be bolder and smarter in our work. But we stand with our partners. We don't walk away, because European Union will always be a force for good. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Kallas, and I wish you a fruitful meeting at the Council. Thank you for being with us.